Hello, Brightly readers. I'm Taiye Selasi, the author of Anansi and the Golden Pot. I wrote this book for my little reader, my son Safa, who loves books but doesn't always love to share. Anansi and the Golden Pot is a story about the magic of sharing. It's set in Ghana, which is where my father is from, and my mom is from Nigeria, where the illustrator, Tinuke Fanborum, is from too. Have any of you ever been to Ghana or Nigeria or Africa? I highly recommend it. But for now, let's read Anansi and the Golden Pot. There was once a little boy whose name was Kweku, but everyone called him Anansi. Anansi's father, Kojo, picked the nickname. In Ghana, said Kojo, where I was born, everyone knows Anansi, a clever little spider with a sparkle in his eye. Anansi's eyes were sparkly too, with spider leg-like lashes. Anansi loved his nickname and those spidery lashes too. He especially loved the traditional tales his parents told at bedtime, stories of the adventures of one little trickster spider. Then, one winter, Anansi had an adventure of his own. From the cold of the city, he flew to the warmth of the beach where his father was born. Of course, Anansi's sister and brother, Ama and Ato, came too. Anansi's Nana was waiting to greet them. Anansi adored his Nana. Wise and kind, she had sparkly eyes and spidery lashes as well. Vacations on the beach, what joy! There were so many things to do. Anansi climbed the coconut trees and drank the cool, sweet water. He hauled in nets with fishermen. He helped his Nana cook. Anansi's favorite thing was to eat Nana's red, a stew of beans with fried plantain, the greatest joy of all. Then, one day, a stranger appeared. This is, after all, an adventure. Sipping a coconut, shaded by palms, Anansi felt legs crawling on his head. 8 skinny legs, to be exact. Eek! He cried, "A spider!" "Observant," said a soft and rather mischievous little voice. The spider leapt from Anansi's head and down into his hand. "Allow me to introduce myself." But he needed no introduction. "Anansi the spider," said Anansi the boy. "So my bedtime stories were true." "Traditional stories are always true," the spider answered, laughing. "Nothing lasts so long as truth, nor travels quite so far." "See that pot?" the spider continued. Anansi looked around them. All he saw were the empty shells of coconuts on the ground. "All I see are coconuts," Anansi said, perplexed. The spider merely chuckled. "Observant," he said again. Then he hopped from Anansi's hand and scurried to a shell. "This, my boy, is a golden pot." It was Anansi's turn to laugh. "But that's a coconut shell," Anansi chuckled, showing the spider. "Look." "I didn't say look," the spider said, impatient. "I said see." Anansi turned the shell in his hands, and then, indeed, he saw. The inside of the coconut shell was bright and sparkling gold. The spider winked. "As I said, a golden pot. See?" He crawled up Anansi's leg, which tickled, and onto Anansi's shoulder, from where he could whisper in Anansi's ear, "And now for the fun part, magic." "Close your eyes and repeat these words," the spider instructed Anansi. "Do for me as you do for spider. Fill with what I most desire." And closing his eyes, cupping the pot, Anansi repeated the charm. No sooner had Anansi spoken Then the smell of ginger filled his nose. He opened his eyes and saw the pot had filled with red stew. The entire shell was glowing now, a magic golden pot. A golden pot for a golden heart, the spider said and winked. Just remember, you must share what you love with those you love the most. I will, said Anansi, mouth full of red. But, alas, he didn't. In the days that followed, Anansi kept the golden pot by his side, splashing in the ocean, taking a bath, building castles from sand. Whenever he craved his favorite food, he spoke the spider's charm. Do for me as you do for spider. Fill with what I most desire. However, he kept the pot a secret from Amma and Otto, afraid that they would steal it. He didn't even tell Nana. Anansi feasted alone. All he could eat, all for himself, or rather, all by himself. In truth, Anansi grew lonely, hiding from Nana and Amma and Otto. Hiding the golden pot beneath his pillow made his head hurt, not to mention his tummy. Red is made of beans, after all. One night, Nana, who, remember, was wise as well as kind, sat on the edge of Anansi's bed, rubbing his aching tummy. When I was young, Nana began. But you're still young, objected Anansi. In spirit, yes, laughed Nana. But when I was oh so young in body, my parents told me tales about a spider and his pot. The stories were always different, but the lesson was the same. A very sleepy Anansi asked, although he suspected he already knew. What was the lesson? Greed brings grief. Generosity brings joy. In the morning, Anansi found Amma and Otto and showed them the golden pot. What is that? They gasped with wonder. Anansi closed his eyes. Do for me as you do for spider. Fill with what I most desire. This time, however, instead of filling with his favorite food, the golden pot filled with Amma's favorite, keliwele, then Otto's favorite, ice cream. Amma and Otto ate with delight, and Anansi watched, delighted. Now he felt something on his neck, 8 skinny legs, which tickled. Then he felt something in his heart, generosity, which glowed. You must share what you love, the spider began, but Anansi finished for him. With those you love the most, Anansi said and laughed with joy.